Okay, hello there. Today I wanted to talk about where OPS and enneagram overlaps. So, a brief introduction. I know that people have different theories on OPS and enneagram and how they relate, if they can relate. And so my theory is this. My theory is that our personality is a set of traits, observable traits, and when any system tries to group things, create patterns, and then group things by these traits, they're not talking to each other. So the people who designed OPS are not talking to the people who have designed Enneagram or who know Enneagram and saying, okay, what traits are you looking at? Okay, I'll look at the other traits. That way we're looking at something completely different, and your Enneagram type means something completely different than your OPS type. That did not happen. And when Enneagram was designed, they did not go to the creator's OPS and say, okay, what are you measuring? What traits are you looking at? And we'll make sure to do the other traits. That's just not how it works. It's just personality is a set of traits, and different systems are they're using their own pattern, getting their own NI, and designing a system. So there are trait overlaps. And I can see ways in which certain OPS coins are related to my Enneagram type. So for instance, I have masculine FI, and I'm a double decider with masculine FI. And I think my masculine FI, in particular, more generalized masculine DI, is related to attachment type in Enneagram. And here's my reasoning for that. So my masculine FI to me is very it's like I'm always putting things through my FI filter. I'm always aware of whether I like something or dislike something. I am aware of just my judgment on anything at any given time, right? I know how I feel about something when you start the story, when you're halfway through, when you're a third of the way through, when you're 3/4 of the way through, and when you've finished. I'm very aware of everything and anything throughout that, and how I feel about it, what I like and don't like about each aspect of the story. When things go on in my life, I'm very aware of how it affects me. I'm aware of what works for me and what doesn't work for me, what I like and what I don't like. And more, I guess, what I like and don't like. What works sounds very TE. And I'm more aware of what I like and don't like. But I do believe that this can be generalized to masculine TI as well as masculine FI. So in that regard, I relate a lot of things to myself. Some stories that really aren't about me, I relate to me. It's kind of like taking everything personally. Everything has a personal tinge to it. Now, not everything, of course, but the things, like at work, if something happens, I'm very aware of how it affects my work. Does this help me? Does this not help me? Excuse me. Because if I'm not feeling good about it, it's probably not working for me, right? Now, on the other side, there's masculine DE. A masculine DE has a feminine DI. But more importantly, it's pushing outward toward the tribe. So it takes any instance, instead of, taking it personally like I might, or relating to it personally, relating, how does this relate to me as masculine DI, and shoving on the self, how is this going to change my life? What can I do? What about my FI? What can I control in my FI? And masculine DE is, well, how does the tribe need to be controlled? And there's not a lot of looking inward. And masculine DE to me is very non-attachment, because it is not relating everything to itself. So when I think of my enneagram, which is Enneagram 6 and is an attachment type, when I see my Enneagram 6, I see it as my masculine FI stories. It's everything that is I bring back to me. I'm like, well, this happened, but this is how I feel about it. This is how it affects me. And yeah, so I think people with masculine DE aren't doing that. They are not looking at within. They're looking at the tribe and how to push back on the tribe, not themselves. And so that's Enneagram terms, a little bit more non-attachment style. It could be all the non-attachment types. Now, I do know that there are Savior DE people, masculine DE people, who have Enneagram 9 or whatnot. I know that happens. So I'm not saying, this isn't a 1-for-1. So when you're doing when I do an overlap with OPS and Enneagram, I'm not saying Enneagram 6 equals masculine FI. I'm saying for me, my Enneagram 6 and my masculine FI traits, and even my demon masculine NI traits are my 6. With my consumed sleep, I'm using my masculine NI a lot. And it slows me down, right? So sleep above play. You're thinking before you're doing. And that is so much my 6. My 6 is thinking about things before doing. And my masculine I is, it being demon, there's a lot of maybe fear and even panicking about something, perhaps. I think that is related to my 6. Now, do I think everyone who has masculine FI and everyone who has masculine NI, has 6? No, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's quite a few. So that is kind of my take on the overlap between Enneagram and OPS, how it relates to me and how I think it could relate to other people who have masculine DI versus those who have masculine DE. And I do know masculine DE people who are 9s. I do, but the ones I know are 9 wing 8. So there is this sense of toning themselves down a bit, but in a roundabout way, still doing what they still a pushback to the tribe. That 8 gives still a pushback. And a 9 wing 1 is going to be a little bit pushed towards themselves. And I know there's DE people with 9. I'm not trying to find all the exceptions to the rules. What I'm saying are traits overlap. And you have to look at someone's full typing system to see how these traits. It's not clean cut because it's, like I said, if it were clean cut, then I think the two founders of each system are talking to each other and saying, okay, you're going to design that system with those traits. And I'm going to design this system looking at every single other trait in a person, or not every single other, but traits that don't overlap with yours. But when that didn't happen, and when you have overlap, you're going to have something where you can't see how each part is related to another part. And you really have to, there's not a formula on what you can look for. I'm kind of still playing with that. I do think sometimes you can look at someone and say, okay, I see their OPS type, and it can help guide you more toward their Enneagram type. But I think you have to be cautious with that and really know what you're doing. But I don't believe it's a 1-for-1, that you can definitely say 1-for-1, this equals that. So I do think you have to be officially typed in Enneagram and OPS, or have someone who understands each system to type you properly. You can't do the 1-for-1, right? That's not, you can't say, okay, I'm officially typed in OPS, now I'm going to do 1-for-1 and get my Enneagram type based on this formula. It's really not that way. It's not a, what are those puzzles where a symbol represents a letter and then you figure out the code. It's not like that at all. But either way, I do think that is something that can possibly be generalized often, with other people. I think they could probably also generalize that way with their masculine DI, and bringing everything back to themselves and how that could be related to their attachment type in Enneagram. They can look at what is their enneagram type and how do they see what traits of them does that enneagram number represent. And then they might say, oh well, that's also my masculine DI. That's interesting. Anyway, that's my story, and I do want to still do a typing. I'm full disclosure, I'm not into typing. I'm not into doing group typings. I'm not into doing solo typing. I'm not into watching typings anymore. I'm really not interested. I do like watching typings if there's something interesting about the person, about the video. So it's not so much about the typing, but it is about this trait of theirs is this, like their NI is this part of them and this journey in their life. But I'm not really interested in, look at these keywords, look at what they're saying, this is how you type. So I'm not interested in that. So I don't know how much typings I'm going to be doing. I still do like the idea of practicing here and there. And Sebastian Maniscalco is still probably going to be my next person that I will try to do. Once I feel motivated to type him. And I've watched so much of him, I really have. So it's not that I'm wondering what he's like. I know what he's like, and I just want to watch with a different set of eyes, looking at his interviews, listening to his interviews. So that is still in my list of videos to make. As is, I want to talk about play some more in relation to me having demon play. So my demon play, it's in third, and also my social type 4. I kind of want to talk about some revelations I've had with my type and some personal growth and development I've seen with play, because I've been and just sneak peek, like I've been really inspired by NI. I'm just I'm inspired by NI when I see people who are just cutting things out of their lives. I'm very inspired. But I've had a really hard time with play. I really have had lacked inspiration. And I finally had a little bit of a breakthrough. So I think I have some things to say about play and growth, my consume sleep play growth. And also, I have TE as my hardest function. When you put all the numbers together, being consume sleep play, and SCFI, my hardest function is TE. Because I don't have TE in my saviors at all, but I have all the other 3 functions in my saviors, just not TE. So it is very weird to me. It's very weird, and I have my eye on it, I think, even though it is my my cat is sitting funny. Apricot. I don't know what she's doing. Cats are funny. But anyway, so those are some topics I would like to talk about. Also, kind of want to talk about career and my consume sleep job versus a job I think I would have in a parallel universe if I were consume play. So these are things I'm kind of mulling about on my mind as topics to discuss next time. But yeah, that is all for now with my Enneagram OPS overlap. And yeah, I'll see y'all next time.